You recall we had a string of athlete burglaries in Q4 of last year.
Yeah, I was really into that.
Well,
Recently I've been reading a lot about it. Maybe
Yeah.
about a month ago I was reading a lot about it.
Which I secretly thought of why the Mavs might have traded Luka. What did they find in his house?
well,
See,
Luka.
the reason you're thinking of conspiracy theories is because just nothing else makes sense.
Yeah, you just have to accept the Occam's razor.
Just they didn't shop him around, so when
You
it
know
comes
why
out
they
in a
didn't
couple
shop him
years,
around? They didn't
that
shop him around because they only wanted Anthony Davis and they didn't want him to get out.
Well, what if they found something in his house?
Then it would already be out there because then you would be not losing dude, if the guy was a pedophile, you say that the next day so that you don't lose 3,000 Mavs TV subscriptions. You gain some for being like, hey, we won't stand for this. What organization would just take it in the shorts like that to keep something like that quiet? No.
Oh, because then you get Anthony Davis out of it, rather than just like, oh, Luka needs some time away from the team.
What is he going to start at the 4 or the 5 tonight?
He's injured.
No.
But he's got a funny TV show coming up.
Oh, God. So Luka and Tyler Sagan were both robbed late last year, but they are not currently – it's unknown whether or not this story that's currently out there about these arrests is related to them. These arrests are related specifically to, if you recall, there was Patrick Mahomes, there was Travis Kelce, there was Joe Burrow, there was Bobby Portis.
Which one is not like the others?
True, but NBA players make a lot of money.
I know, but
like I bet Bobby Portis makes significantly more than Travis Kelce does or has.
Let's see. Bobby Portis' career, $65 million.
I bet
that's right where
I bet
Kelce
Kelce's under 100, and Bobby Portis is 29.
Career 94 for Kelce.
By the end of it, Bobby Portis is probably not that far away from Travis Kelce.
But yeah, spare NBA player,
Can make 12, 13
spare
million.
baseball player, same thing.
If you're not a pass rusher, wide receiver, or quarterback, you can probably be got by a Bobby Portis. And at least in the case of those Kansas City Chiefs players, Portis in Milwaukee and Burrow in Cincinnati, or at least the first three, the Kansas City ones and the Milwaukee one, they were during home games for those players. So kind of like how you used to hear I feel like my dad, my stepmom, when they first found out about Facebook, were all over this. We're not going to post when we're on vacation.
My wife's big about that.
Yeah.
Well, she's not a big poster anyway, but yeah.
But if you're an old, a lot of people will when it's vacation. You're like, oh, look, Dolphins. And then people are like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So in this case, it's obvious. You have a home game. You're not going to be there. They know when you leave. But in Burrow's case, he was actually in Dallas when his home in Cincinnati was robbed. And he, along with Mahomes and Kelce, had hired like round-the-clock home security teams. And this gang of Chilean nationals, fellas from Chile who had been hanging out in America, they had observed from like the woods the patterns of the home security team, when shift change was, and where their vulnerability spots were. Because in the case of Mahomes' house, and Portis' actually, it says they gained entry without breaking any doors or windows. They just figured out exactly where the panel was that they could unscrew it from the wall, walked right in while the security team was there in the driveway.
Wow.
And stole anywhere from $1 million to $2 million from each one of these guys. It was also a player, unnamed Bucks player, Tampa Bay, and an unnamed
Baker
Grizzlies player.
It's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Because
all
that
that
was
part of it brilliant.
My thought was, yeah, if you make $30 million a year or $50 or whatever these quarterbacks make, can't you afford the best security? And apparently they had the best security. Yet these guys still went after them.
Yeah.
Like a challenge.
Like a challenge. And like I said, yeah, just watching from the woods, monitoring the pattern of security guards, breaking into the homes by breaking small windows or prying open sliding doors, watches, bags, chains, cash, and an abortion. Side note, we're going to do a commentary on media. This ESPN.com article, one of the few I read on this, uses this term, which feels a bit archaic. Their booty had an estimated value of about $3 million.
That's a pirate's booty.
So yes, as Dan said, very smart. They're tracking movements. They take it as a challenge. They pulled it off. Not as
caught?
smart. Uploading all of their selfies of them posing with all of their booty to an iCloud account so they could share it with their other gangster friends and show them. And in one of them, I think while they're at Bobby Portis's house, one of them's like wearing a Mahomes jersey, which is funny.
Yeah.
Like he had clearly just boosted that and kept it with him.
But why did the iCloud account, why is that a bad idea?
Well, because
The cops can't get in there.
With a warrant, they did.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they suspected these guys. Now have a warrant for their...
I think they suspected these guys, but also they got pulled over. What they were doing were renting cars. And at one point they got pulled over in a rental, and the body cam footage is actually out there. They were, was it speeding? But they got pulled over. They said they don't really speak English. One of them was wearing a Bengals stocking cap. You can see in the video when they got pulled over. They took everything, and they just kept wearing it. Officer asked them in Spanish where they were headed. This was in Ohio, and they said Orlando. We're headed to Orlando, and the cop was like, wrong direction. Person in the back seat then changed his destination to New York, then to Florida. They search the car. They find the tools. Crowbar, window punches.
For how methodical they were to make sure they could get that crime done. It's a Luigi Mangione thing, right? Like, you didn't have this part of it?
Yeah. At least in his case, you'd be like, did he want to get caught?
Yeah.
These guys, no. But the selfies are hilarious. I mean, it's just, they look like cops after a drug bust. You know, they have it all laid out neatly on a table, except they also are wearing some of the chains and a Chiefs jersey, like throwing up the hang loose. So, yeah, 7 people have been charged in this burglary sting. I don't know, maybe subconsciously this is why I live so light, because you're not getting shit off me.